It's now time for the Pony Cake Sports Podcast with your hosts, Josh Stevens, Tim Thompson, and Tom Schultz. Woo!
I truly have no idea who Joshua Stevens is, but what I do know is that he is not here. I am your host for the evening, Tim Thompson, with my friend, as always, Tom Schultz. But not only that, tonight we have a special guest, a PKS original, an OG, if you would, Michael Agent, back here on the show.
Love to be here, guys. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. I am glad that you're here, and I'm even more glad Josh is in Denver. He's eating edibles with one, who's the backup
Chad
quarterback
Kelly.
now? Yeah, Chad Kelly of the Denver Broncos. He's eating edibles with him. He's realizing that his marriage is getting closer and closer. He's getting a little bit nervous. He went on a journey through the mountains while he eats edibles and looks into the sky and the moon and tries to find himself and discover his own sexuality. So best of luck to him and Chad Kelly on their ventures.
Speaking of sexuality, when he was in San Francisco, he sent me a picture of, I don't know where he was exactly, but it was just a wall of flavored lubes. Now, because he was in San Francisco and before he's getting married, I figure he's, again, exploring his own body and just wants to learn who he truly is before he gets locked down.
The show's off to a hot start. Again, we are Pony Keg Sports, joined with Tom Schultz, Mike Agent, and Joshua Stevens on a hiatus at the moment, if you would. We are Pony Keg Sports. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook at Pony Keg Sports. You can follow Josh on Twitter at Pony Keg Sports. Follow Tom at Pony_Keg_Tom. And you can follow me at Fight Talk Tim. Michael Agent, I know you have a Twitter. I don't know it at the moment.
Michael R. Agent.
At Michael R. Agent, you may see things about lubes, video games, or his children. You never really know about one Michael Agent. Not sure what
It's a lot random.
Yeah, not sure what you share on the old Twitter, but definitely worth a follow. And a big shout out and thank you to our sponsor at Rogue Energy. The only way I remember that name every episode, Tom, is because I say, "Oh, what's our sponsor?" And I say Star Wars. Boom, Rogue Energy. That's the exact. I get it every time. They got delicious flavors, berries, cherries, what have you. It doesn't matter. You want to replace that coffee, you want to replace that Red Bull, replace that pre-workout energy. Rogue Energy is where it's at. Amazing stuff. And make sure, taking your thunder, Tom, this time, finally, use our promo code PKS. Use that at checkout. You get 10% off, right, Tom? 10% off at checkout. Save yourself for money and get hyped up. If you want to, hey, listen, don't do a key bump before your draft. Don't take Adderall before your draft. Drink some Rogue Energy. You'll be alert. You'll be aware. And listen to Pony Keg Sports beforehand, and you will be prepped for your 2018 fantasy football draft. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have our consensus running back rankings. Now, Tom, you and I did ours. And Mike did not. We said, hey, Mike, you're going to come around for the show. Can you do your consensus running back rankings? And his exact words were, fuck you, Tim. I said, okay, well, I guess we'll go with Josh's consensus rankings then. So for all intents and purposes, Michael, tonight you are one Joshua Stevens.
And let me just say, I'm looking at your guys versus Josh's, and you guys doing the Google Drive, and it's all nice and organized.
Yes, sir.
You guys have first name, last name, capitalized, first, last, a number next to him, so it's easy to follow. I'm looking through Josh's, and I see LF7. Like, who is L? Oh, Leonard Fournette. But I didn't know that at first. I had to sit there and guess my way through his list.
Listen,
So-
when you are when you're shotgunning lubes in the middle of the
very true.
the Denver mountains,
Very true.
It's hard to put numbers, put real names out there. It actually makes me way more. I was self-conscious going into this. I went and took the time to add the numbers because I felt guilty not having numbers. Tom was kind of making fun of me a little bit. Glad I did that now that I know your judgmental ass is here, judging how people input. Someone who inputted nothing to the whole Google Drive sheet.
Something about Josh, though. We are using his computer, so he's doing everything on his phone.
We are not only...
Oh, that's very true. Okay.
So
yeah.
it'd probably be more difficult on a phone doing this. I'm glad I didn't have to do that. So let's give him a little props. It's totally
You know what makes
not
it
forget
easier?
him.
No, I'm gonna forget him because
Is he replaced? Is it official?
Well, what did I say to start out? We did a league episode for our own fantasy football league, and I started out with, gentlemen, I have taken over Josh Stevens' hosting responsibilities. Josh is the commissioner. No more. I am taking over that. I've taken over his house, and I've slept with his wife, soon-to-be wife.
Heel turn.
Did you put your balls on his pillow?
No, but I farted bare ass on his pillow, so he gets pink eye when he comes back on Saturday.
Awesome.
Done. Gentlemen, let's move on here. Enough with the semantics. Enough with the jokes. Running backs. Number one consensus overall, Ezekiel.
What?
Ezekiel? How do you say that name? Ezekiel, the Titty Whomper Elliott, comes out and on two of our boards, Mike, you did not have Zeke on your number one. Tom and I did. Zeke, the number one running back, going 1-3 on average ADPs. I feel like this is obvious. With the offensive line still being the top tier in the league, with the wide receivers drastically falling off, no more tight end safety net, Zeke Elliott is it. Dak Prescott, all of the success that Dak Prescott has in the 2018 season is going to be because of one Ezekiel Elliott. He finally gets a year. His rookie season, it was all about proving himself. Last year, it was all about the middle finger to Roger Goodell. This year, there's nothing. It's calm. Have you heard one thing about Ezekiel Elliott this offseason? No. It's been nice.
I've heard one thing.
I mean, you get my point. There hasn't been any talk, any controversy really around one Ezekiel Elliott. This is when Ezekiel Elliott comes out, lays it all on the table and says, I am the best in the league, and shows it to everyone.
In Ezekiel Elliott's rookie season, he finished second overall in scoring in the 15 games that he played. In PPR leagues, a lot of people bash him for his PPR scoring. Last year, in the 10 weeks that he did play, he was suspended for those 6 games. He finished as the number 2 running back in those 10 weeks as well. That's saying something about him. He is one of the most consistent players in fantasy football. You put him in your lineup, and he's going to score you double-digit points. A good possibility that he's over 20 points. The Cowboys are going to use him more often this year in the passing game, which has kind of been the only thing limiting his total points outcome and making him the clear-cut number 1 running back and fantasy player in fantasy football. And you got to look at that offensive line. Tim, you brought that up. They drafted a stud, Connor Williams, out of Texas, played tackle in college. He's moving into the left guard spot. That offensive line has 5 potential Pro Bowlers. They're absolute studs. Probably the best right guard in the game, and with Martin, probably the best center with Travis Frederick, probably the best left tackle, Tyron Smith. This team is loaded. They're going to run the football through Zeke Elliott, and he's going to get over 350 touches this year, and he's my clear-cut number 1 running back.
Yeah, those are great things. It's hard to say. Josh has Todd Gurley as his number 1, so I guess that's what I'm kind of trying to argue here. And the really only thing I have to say, as far as running backs, when you look back at last year's run defenses, Dallas is going to have the 27th strength of schedule, and the LA Rams are going to have some. Oh man, I just lost it, but it's in the teens. So Todd Gurley should have an easier schedule overall, where the team is also going up, right? The team is growing. It's getting better. I can see Todd Gurley also producing bigger numbers, where the Dallas Cowboys, as far as the running game shows, the strength of schedule, they're ranked right now 27. It could be a little hard, especially with no weapons on the outside for Dak to throw to. People might key in and start some. Now, that's not saying he's not going to score points, right? This guy's going to score points. I'm just arguing about who's number 1.
I agree with you completely, Mike. I like that assessment that you have there that, listen, teams are going to focus on Zeke this year. Teams are going to make Dak Prescott prove that he is who the Dallas Cowboys think he is. They're going to take Zeke away at times. They're going to make Dak go out there and have big plays with Allen Hurns, with Cole Beasley, with who's the rookie that they brought in, Thomas?
Gallup.
Yeah, Gallup. Joseph Gallup?
Michael
Gallup. Close enough. Joseph, Michael, it does not matter. They're both names in the Bible. Let's move on. 2 through 5 consensus rankings. Number 2, Todd Gurley. Number 3, David Johnson. Number 4, Lev Bell. Number 5, Saquon Barkley. Looking at this list, I like it all. I think the biggest thing, I'm going to move one forward actually, just to kind of spark some interest here. Melvin Gordon is at 6. It could be considered somewhat disrespectful to have Saquon Barkley ahead of Melvin Gordon. You don't really know Le'Veon Bell. There's some issues there. David Johnson coming off of injury. Melvin Gordon gets dropped behind all 3 of those guys. What are your thoughts there and on kind of how this is all played out with our consensus rankings?
I think our top 6, I think it's almost cookie cutter. Most people have the rankings like this. Some people have Alvin Kamara in there as well, possibly above Saquon. But for me, Gurley, clear cut. He's the number 1 overall player last year. Got an offensive guru, Sean McVay, in there, so he's going to continue to put up big points. Got paid. Good new scheme. David Johnson's going to be the bell cow in Arizona like we've seen before. Hopefully that quarterback play is better, and Lev Bell is Lev Bell.
Take away for a second here, David Johnson. I just want to talk about Todd Gurley specifically. Mike, you/Josh had him as your number 1 running back. Are we concerned at all about any type of regression going into this season? Listen, Gurley struggled mightily. This is his 4th year, I believe. Correct. He had a good rookie season, struggled mightily his sophomore year, blew up his junior year. It seems like the Rams are on that path to continue to greatness, but are we worried about any type of regression? Listen, the NFC West, it's fallen off quite a bit, but notoriously known here over the last 5 years for their defense, known for what Cardinals are in a crossroads, if you would. Seahawks are in a massive crossroads regression, if you would, Mike. Yeah, absolutely. But are we worried about any type of regression in not only Todd Gurley, but the Rams' offense as a whole?
I think you have to be concerned with regression. Look, when you score 19 touchdowns in a year, it doesn't happen too often. So you should be expecting that touchdown total to go somewhere between 12 and 15, and that is still a big load of touchdowns. I don't see his touchdowns staying that high. That'll probably be somewhere closer to like the 12 mark, like I brought up. I totally see his usage probably staying the same though. He was an important part of that offense. The 64 receptions. I believe there's only 1 or 2 running backs that ran more routes than him last season. Todd Gurley is the dude in LA, but his touchdowns will be going down. Fact.
Speaking of taking big loads, Josh just sent me another picture.
Oh God.
No, but yeah, those are great things to say. I just see his numbers going up. There's just up. Like, yeah. So he had 1,300 rushing.
Does he get 25 touchdowns?
No, not touchdowns.
Right.
Touchdown. Your touchdown prediction was absolutely right. 19 touchdowns is ridiculous. You can expect him to have 12 to 15 and be very happy with that. Yeah. But he had 1,300 yards. I see that going up. I honestly think he's more closer to 1,800 rushing yards. And then you could tack on whatever you think for his receiving. Who knows? The receiving core is going to grow, so I don't know exactly what that's going to be because you got Cooper Kupp in his second year, and you got some people that they brought in and paid. So those numbers might drop a little bit. And that's the thing, is the Rams, if Jared Goff is really what this key's on, right? If he can continue to grow and use those weapons that the Rams have brought in, that is going to leave him an open field, and he is not somebody even on his bad year he had 900 rushing, roughly 900 rushing yards. So he's a bad dude, and that team is good. Now a team that I'm worried about that is number 3 on our list, who I think should be bumped way down, is David Johnson. Anyone that watched the Arizona Cardinals offensive line play in the first preseason week needs to be scared. Josh Rosen almost died in that game. His center was so bad that when he was getting shotgun snaps, Rosen would immediately put his hands to the ground because the center could not get the ball to his chest. That offensive line is a mess. And Tim, when you said earlier you were going to move one person up and one person down, I honestly thought you were going to move Saquon and Le'Veon Bell. Right now the ranks are 4 and 5. I think Saquon is going to, if his leg stays healthy, he's got a bad hamstring right now. Yeah. I think Bell, as much as he wants to have a great year, is going to have a problem with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think they're spiteful, and I think that team will bury you to make you not as worthy in the free agent market. Similar to what we've seen like NBA players. What was the Chicago Bulls guy?
Derrick Rose.
Not Derrick Rose.
Well, dang. Michael Jordan. This is a football podcast, Mike. Those are the three
I'm just trying
basketball
to
players that I know.
The guy got paid max contract.
Oh, you're thinking of Jimmy Butler.
Yes, Jimmy Butler.
Yeah, he went
they
to the
tried
Timberwolves.
They tried trashing his numbers so they could make him less attractive on the free agent market. And I think that's something that can absolutely happen with Bell, is they're just going to say, F you. You don't want to report. You don't want to sign the contract that we give you. We're going to make your numbers so bad that you're not going to be worth on. Now, that's not going to happen, right? Let's be honest. He's still going to get paid. He's still going to produce. But I can absolutely see Saquon Barkley being better number-wise than Le'Veon Bell this coming year.
Listen, I don't know what's going to happen with Le'Veon Bell. I feel like in a contract year, he's going to do what he has to do to get paid. And at the end of the day, as one R. Kelly once said, he's black, handsome. I don't know if he sings, but he's rich. So he's going to get paid big-time dollars no matter what team he goes to. I'm going to ask you quick questions here for these top five, or these bottom part of the top five. Tom, over, under, both of you. Tom first. Set it at 10.5. Over, under. David Johnson touchdowns.
Over.
Over.
Over, under. Saquon Barkley, 11 touchdowns.
I'll go under.
Yeah, for a rookie, I just think they're going to use him too much. Over.
Le'Veon Bell, 14.5 touchdowns. Over, under.
Under.
Really, under. The receiving touchdowns don't play any factor into that?
They definitely do, but you look the last two normally with running backs, when they hit that 375 total touches plateau, normally there's a huge downgrade in overall performance the next year. Obviously, it didn't happen last year for Le'Veon Bell, but it's back-to-back years over 400 touches. He is not going to be in training camp. He'll probably come back the week 1 game. I'm just worried about him staying healthy. How much motivation is he really going to have to go out there and put another 400-plus touches on his legs and back and to carry the Steelers football team? I just don't see it happening. That's why I just think he's going to have a down year.
That's a great counterpoint. Maybe the Steelers will do a...
They should run him into the ground.
DeMarco Murray and just run him in the ground. That's a great counterpoint.
There's no reason they shouldn't do that.
I think the difference here with Le'Veon Bell is he's very self-aware. He understands his situation. He's had to deal with the politics of the NFL. Yes, he's taken his fair share, don't laugh, Mike, of the load in Pittsburgh over the last couple of years. But he has an old school mentality. There were so many guys in the 90s who would either be quote-unquote injured or they'd be in a holdout to not go through the training camps when it was full contact, full. They didn't want to get hurt. They didn't want to. Le'Veon Bell almost has that mentality now. He knows he's good enough. He knows he's a big enough asset to that offense that he's going to get his regardless. If he puts up an average Le'Veon Bell season, he'll be going into free agency at 27 years old. He will get a 3-year deal with big-time guaranteed money, which is all that he's concerned about. So we're going to leave it at that. Go ahead, Mike.
My last question is, after all this discussion, you had him listed at your number 4 running back.
Yes, sir.
If you're drafting 1-4, do you pick him or do you take somebody else?
No, absolutely I take him.
Okay.
So this was the confusion, Mike, and you weren't privy to this.
Well, Saquon Barkley is available.
No, he is. Listen, in previous, I've had an internal dilemma in making these rankings at times because of battling where I think they should be ranked. My rankings this year, it was for the quarterback episode, and I would take the guy that I have at that spot before any of the people after him. That's how, if I'm up and they're available, I'm taking this guy above that guy. That is how my rankings are done. And, yeah. So let's move on here. We've listed our top 5. Saquon Barkley, there's a lot of discussion left there, but I'm going to leave that alone. I'm not going to leave it alone. Saquon Barkley, I will end it with I have been excited about Todd Gurley, him being a Georgia boy. I've been excited about Ezekiel Elliott with everything he did at Ohio State, crazy numbers. I have never been more excited since playing fantasy football than I am with Saquon Barkley at running back. I think that he is a perfect combination of Ezekiel Elliott's power and Le'Veon Bell's versatility. I think he is going to be the overall number one guaranteed dominant running back. He's going to be Todd Gurley pushing 20 touchdowns. Maybe not his rookie season, but when he gets into the prime of his career, into the thick of things, he has Odell Beckham Jr. there. He has Evan Ingram there. There's just everything is pointing in the right direction for one Saquon Barkley. There's no fear. People who fear rookie running backs don't. Kid is a stud, guaranteed. Lock him in. If he's available at number 5, you are taking him every single time. Let's finish out the top 10 here. 6, we have Melvin Gordon. 7, we have Leonard Fournette. Am I looking at Josh's rankings here? Hold on, let me make sure. Nope, okay. 7, we have Leonard Fournette. 8, we have Elvin Kamara. 9, we have Delvin Cook. Number 10, Kareem Hunt.
I've been kind of down on Fournette compared to a lot of people. ADP's going 110. He's my 9th ranked running back. Look, last season, he was extremely productive, extremely reliable when he was playing. The big issue for me in ranking him is when and how many games is he going to be playing. He's got chronic ankle and lower leg injuries that I am scared of, especially with how big he is, how violent of a runner he is. And no running back in the NFL last year faced more 8-man boxes than Leonard Fournette. It's going to continue. No teams are scared of Blake Bortles, as they shouldn't be. So he's going to be consistently running into stacked boxes. He's got lower leg injuries, ankle injuries that have kept him off the field in college and last season. He's also had a couple boneheaded decisions, missing practice, issues like that, where he got benched last year. That is why I am down on Leonard Fournette. But when this dude's healthy, he's going to score touchdowns. On a per-game basis last year, was ranked 7th per game scoring. Caught more passes than I thought he would. That Jacksonville Jaguars offense is going to run through Leonard Fournette. I'm just a little worried about him and his overall health, especially in dynasty leagues.
Yeah, I agree. I honestly, if Leonard Fournette was available, even in the 4th round, I wouldn't take him.
4th?
I'm being absolutely honest. I don't. Let's be absolutely clear. He wouldn't be there in the 4th. But if he was, this, obviously I'm exaggerating. I wouldn't take him. I don't want this guy on my team. He's got a nasty attitude. Like Tom said, he faces too many people in the box, and he's got lower leg injuries. And those things to me mean he's not going to be your number 1. Sure, when he plays, he's going to be your number 1, but he's not always going to play.
I absolutely, I'm going to go on and defend him. Leonard Fournette is the modern-day LeGarrette Blount. I feel like that's a fair comparison.
LeGarrette Blount plays 16 games, though.
And Leonard Fournette very well can. Leonard Fournette protects himself the same way that LeGarrette Blount did early in his career in Tampa. That's why he had the MO that he did. He had the same thing, the bad attitude, all that. Very, very similar, it seems like. I don't know either of them, but personalities and style of running. The big thing with Jacksonville and why I like Leonard Fournette so much is they've built up that offensive line. And on top of that, I despise this man. I've bashed him numerous times on this podcast. D.D. Westbrook is evolving into a very good wide receiver in the NFL.
Oh, God.
I don't like him. I hope I'm wrong. I hope he's not. But he's doing good things. I don't know what Blake Bortles can do, but you mentioned it, Leonard Fournette's ability to catch the ball, and Jacksonville going out there and saying, hey, you know what? Marquise Lee, D.D. Westbrook, and the addition of DJ Shark, who knows what he's going to bring in his rookie season. They're gonna do what they did last year. They're gonna mix things up. Tom Coughlin is very, very good at having a fantastic defense and opening up the offense just enough to make his quarterback and his running back successful. You saw that last year with Blake Bortles' success, the best season in his career, and he's a terrible quarterback. He is god-awful. Blake Bortles is the Rex Grossman of the NFL right now. He is awful. That defense is so good. I do not see a way that Leonard Fournette does not have 10-plus touchdowns, and I don't see a way that he doesn't have 1,000-plus rushing yards. Him at this spot, he's the guarantee. He's one of the only guarantees, in my opinion, right now. His issues are all just, like you said, his personality. When he wants to play, even if he only plays 14, 15 games, I want him on my team every single time. You saying you wouldn't take him in the 4th round. Mike, get the hell out of here.
Can I talk about somebody that I think will shock some people?
Talk about whoever you want.
Dalvin Cook. So ADP right now, he's being drafted 2-1. We have him currently ranked 9th overall in ours. I think that's great. This guy is the real deal. He's coming back from an ACL. I mean, look at the stuff he did in the first 4 weeks of the season.
Yep.
He was just murdering. He was on pace for 3,000, 4,000, 6,000 yards. He was on pace
Like
for
1,600 rushing yards.
Yeah, it was
300 to 400 receiving.
He was on pace for a
6,000 yards.
That's what I'm going to call Mr. 6K.
And he's
Bernie Mac.
he's looking great. Watch the Vikings Twitter feed. It is just him running solid routes out of the backfield, him running and cutting, and he does that weird enlarged hula hoop where he just runs in a big circle. It's fantastic to see him testing the knee. People, if you can get him in the late 1st round or 2-1, I mean, that's an absolute steal at 2-1. I can't believe he's been that late, and I'm glad we're bringing up to people that Dalvin Cook, someone might laugh at you when you take him in 1-9 like we have, but that is the right choice to make at that point.
Yeah, I want to say Dalvin Cook. Listen, Tom and Josh were much higher on Dalvin Cook than I was going into last year. Their point proven. You guys called that. Props to you. My scare with Dalvin Cook, I should say, this season is in this new offense. Who is he going to become? There's a lot of weapons there. There's a lot of red zone threats there. The Kyle Rudolph being the tight end affects him. He can catch the ball. Does he have the ability coming off of this injury to be a 3-down back? Listen, the guy has not been able to put up a ton of impressive stats, but layabouts Murray is still there lingering. He's going to take away something. May not be a lot, but he's going to take away something. Is Dalvin Cook the guy, or is he the new Chris Thompson of Kirk Cousins' offense? I would definitely take him in the 2nd round, like you're saying, Mike. I would not be ashamed of that. I like Dalvin Cook, but there's still some questions there.
Fell in love with Dalvin Cook watching his college tape. I thought the landing spot in Minnesota was fantastic. Through 4 games last year, he was a top 8 running back. After he got hurt, Jerick McKinnon was the 10th overall running back PPR, Latavius Murray 15th. So that offense was able to produce 2 top 20 running backs. There should be no issue with Dalvin Cook. Even if Latavius Murray has the same type of numbers and running back shares that he did last year, this offense is going to be better. I think we can all agree on that Kirk Cousins will be a better quarterback. This team should score more points. I'm all in on Dalvin Cook. I absolutely love him this season, taking him anywhere from 1-8 to 1-9 or 1-8 to 2-1 and feeling completely comfortable with it.
The one guy I want to talk about before we move on, outside of the top 10, Kareem Hunt, our 10th ranked running back. Obviously a fantastic rookie year. Anyone who drafted him was thrilled. Blew up early. Kind of fell short there a little bit towards the end of the season.
Middle of the year was rough.
Middle of the year was very, very rough. But still a guy you need a big year. Top 10, we obviously have him as a top 10 running back. But does he finish as a top 10 running back? Or does he have one of those, not even a slump, but does he regress a little bit?
I think he's going to finish as a RB1, top 12, somewhere in that 10 to 12 range. Andy Reid, that's what he does. He produces RB1s. The one thing I am worried about with him, though, is last year when Matt Nagy started to take over play calling for Andy Reid was when Kareem Hunt got his shit going again. Because Andy Reid, he will get in a mindset, he will get tunnel vision and completely forget about his running back. And now he's got a fancy new shiny object in Patrick Mahomes, who's got an arm that he could throw the football over them there mountains right there. You know, he's got a cannon for an arm. That's going to be an air raid system. I just think Kareem Hunt's going to be extremely inefficient this year. He was last year, and that was with Alex Smith. I am passing on Hunt. He's going too early for me.
Yeah, I completely agree. I know Josh's list here, he has him actually at number 11, and I can agree. I wouldn't take him till the second round just because, again, you got that rookie quarterback, so people can put more people in the box to cover you. I mean, the dude's Mahomes got a cannon that he can throw almost a 100-yard pass. It's absolutely ridiculous. But is he actually going to be an efficient quarterback like Alex Smith was, where he not only has those checkdowns, but he plays it safe and hands it off, and no one knows when to switch the pass play to a run play to open it up for you. So we'll see. Not a bad guy to have on your team, but I would pass on him as well.
Another team that in the red zone, they have Travis Kelce, obviously big-time tight end. They just added Sammy Watkins, big-time name there. They still have Tyreek Hill. He gets his. So another guy with a lot of people who could potentially take away. I'm interested to see how that all plays out. Let's go 11 through 15. Christian McCaffrey, Joe Mixon, Devonta Freeman, Jordan Howard, Jerick McKinnon.
I'm a big fan of a lot of these guys. Jerick McKinnon, you know, people are either super down on him or all in on him. I had him as my 15th running back. I think it's fair to say he's going to be a clear-cut running back too, and that's how he is in my rankings. But with him, I look at Carlos Hyde. I do not have much respect for Carlos Hyde as a running back. I think he's pretty bad, in all honesty. And he was a top 10 running back in Kyle Shanahan's scheme. As long as you can stay healthy in this scheme, you're going to catch over 60 footballs. You're probably going to get close to 200 rushing attempts. And if Jerick McKinnon can hit on both of those, he's an RB1 in my eyes. He's a more dynamic playmaker than Carlos Hyde is. And he was... When he got the chance last year, he was running back 10 in PPR formats, week 5 to 17.
If he can do that with Case Keenum and that offense, he can do it with Jimmy G.
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
He's got an offensive guru.
And right now his ADP is at the last pick of the second round. Absolute steal if you can get him at that point. Another guy I really love, whose ADP is that we have ranked number 12. Is Joe Mixon.
Thank you, Mike.
Watch this guy's first preseason game. Oh, if
it's coming.
You know when your dick gets hard and your balls go right close to you. I saw him duck, dive, put down, keep his balance, and run into the end zone, and my balls just got tight. I love this guy. Loved him last year. It was kind of a heartache seeing him having a really tough year. Absolute breakout year. I'm guaranteeing it. If you can get him at 211, it's great. We have him ranked at 12, which is the last pick of the first round. If you can get him anywhere in there, this guy is going to be a stud. He will be a number 1, and not only that, PPR formats, you're going to love him. Too sweet. Too sweet.
Woo! Yeah, I'm taking him mid-second round.
Could not agree more. The last guy I wanted to... Actually, I'm going to pair both of these guys together. Devonta Freeman and Jordan Howard. Devonta Freeman got his big contract, got his money. Might have been at the end of last year, I think, or mid last year when he got. Regardless, he gets paid. Tevin Coleman is kind of on the bubble now, who's always taking stuff away from him, and if he's even going to be on the team. And then Jordan Howard, new offensive style. He can't catch the football. That's been his MO.
He got LASIK.
What do you guys think of both Devonta Freeman and Jordan Howard?
Like Freeman, I'm a little worried about him. He's kind of been getting banged up as of late. And normally when running backs start getting those little nagging injuries, they just continue to get worse. Rarely do you just see injuries just completely stop in a running back's career. But still, that offense, it has to be better. They have to be more reliable, more consistent than they were last year. Hopefully it's kind of like what it was when they went to the Super Bowl. It was second year with Kyle Shanahan that Matt Ryan and company kind of got it going. Hopefully that happens with Steve Sarkisian. Jordan Howard, I absolutely love him this year, personally. I think he's being slept on a little bit. When we did our little keep cut trade episode, brought up the fact that he was actually extremely more successful running out of shotgun than he was running under center. So that's going to help. Matt Nagy loves to run shotgun formations, and I think sky's the limit for him. I think he's going to be a touchdown hog in that offense.
Yeah, the only thing that scares me about these guys is injuries. Jordan Howard is that old school guy. He's the Brett Favre of running backs, where he'll hit, his shoulder will fall off, and then he'll go to the sideline and say, "Coach, put it back," and then he'll go back into the game and finish out what he's got to do. Besides that, what you said, Tom, is absolutely spot on. This guy should be on your radar. The Bears are brought in an offensive person and have put offensive weapons on the field. Now, a lot of that hinges on what Trubisky can do as far as the passing game, but Howard, whether there's a passing game or not, has been able to produce, and now we have a glimpse of hope of there being a passing game in Chicago. And Howard is going to be running out of the shotgun a lot more, like you said, Tom. Big numbers for him. Can't disagree.
Very interested to see how that all plays out. Let's do 16 through 20, and then we'll start doing 10 at a time. 16, Shady, I May Have Beat My Girlfriend McCoy, Alex Collins, Royce Freeman, Kenyon Drake, and Sony, Don't Call Me a Samsung Michelle.
This is where it starts getting interesting with the running back spot. You know, the top 15 guys feel pretty comfortable with. That's why I think it's kind of important to, with your first two picks in fantasy drafts this year, get two running backs. Because after this, it starts getting a little scary, a little sketchy. Out of this group, big fan of Royce Freeman. I think potential for his ADP to jump up a bit. We're a lot higher on him than most people. His current ADP is 501. And I think he's going to be the bell cow there in Denver. Might take a little time. And I'm also a big fan of Sony Michel. His ADP has dropped big time. He was going in the fourth round. He's now 701.
It's the injury.
It's the injury. They're saying he should be okay by week 1. But yeah, if he's healthy, I think he deserves to be in the 17 to 20 range.
If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd have a Merry fucking Christmas, Tom. I don't know. Mike?
This is where I agree with Tom. Dude, you got it. Hey, you're drafting? Take two running backs right away. Did you hear our list that we just said? Alex Collins, Royce Freeman, Kenyon Drake, Sony Michel, and sorry, I missed LaShawn McCoy. That's a scary group that you're going to be taking in the third round for your number one running back. You take the guys early. This group is questionable. You don't really know what's going to happen. Maybe some of these rookies again blow up, but it's just a giant question mark on all of them. Our list is great, but you definitely need to draft running backs early this year because the good ones are going to go early.
You know, I think that you guys are missing someone. I think that Alex Collins deserves a little bit of respect here, in all honesty. I'm not disagreeing with anything that you guys have said, but with the Ravens bringing in an Orlando Brown and improving that, having a veteran quarterback, bringing in
Marshall Yanda's back.
Yanda's back, that's right. Having a Willie Snead, having a Michael Crabtree, having this type of offense, and John Brown, thank God Josh isn't here to hear that. That's all, anything you read out of Ravens camp, everyone is raving about John Brown. Listen, I'm not a fan of him, but if he can stretch the field like he's supposed to for a team, listen, they might have a real shot for Alex Collins, pending his health, to have a big year. That's someone that I think that should be on everyone's radar. He's someone that I would definitely take and be happy with. Sony Michel, I'm not nearly as high on as you are, Tom.
You had him at 32 or something?
Yep. Royce Freeman, I do like his odds of being a number one. And Kenyon Drake, that's another one. Listen, Kenyon Drake is the guy in Miami. Ryan Tannehill's there. Balaj, for everything that you and Josh have said about Balaj being, a potential contender, Balaj was just thrown out of the huddle by Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill comes back after his injury and says, "Hey, I have a 15-inch penis. I'm going to do whatever I want." Just starts whipping guys out of the huddle, being a badass. And it seems like Kenyon Drake's going to be the guy. Both Drake and Collins, I think, are sleepers this year.
Yeah, people should be respecting Collins. When his last 7 games that he started, he was running back 11. in the NFL in PPR leagues. So that's saying something. He was an RB1 for you when you needed him the most at the end of the year. Most likely you picked him up off waivers. So I do like Collins. It's just, for me right now, taking him at 310, it's just a little early for me, man. I understand what he can be, but I just like a lot more that's on the table at that spot.
Let's think about it for a second. So if you're potentially on an Alex Collins watch, that means you're at the end of the first. You're a pick 10 through 12.
Mm-hmm.
You probably ended up with maybe a Julio Jones type player, and then another top
Hopefully
wide.
like a Dalvin Cook.
Regardless, I'm saying you could very well have two of the. If you fell in love with big names, you could have two of the top receivers. Say you fell in love. Say you went old school. You have a Julio Jones and an AJ Green. Now you're at Alex Collins at 310 or 3. You wouldn't do it.
You have to.
I'd probably still pass and just go all out 0 RB, get another receiver, and I'd roll the dice. There's a couple other guys we're going to be coming up with, but like a Jamal Williams, Sony Michel, if he's still going in the 7th, I'm all about that action. Well,
sorry, I just think it's gross.
Sony Michel in the 7th?
Yeah, that's a little crazy of a theory there, Tom. I get it. I understand it. That's definitely a strategy you can have, but
It's a dumb one
0 RB works.
it does work.
for no teams in fantasy football history.
It works.
Go ahead, Mike.
I just
Close
don't-
this out. Close this out.
I don't like Alex Collins at all. It's not a sexy name. It's not a sexy player. He doesn't flash. He doesn't give me anything. Like you said, he did finish the year strong. But something about that whole team where I just look at him, I'm like,
They play the worst football you could watch, the Ravens.
Let's go 6 players here now. 21, we have Derrick Henry. 22, Lamar Miller. 23, Jay Ajayi. Talk about non-sexy names. 24, Mark Ingram. 25, Jamal Williams. And 26, Marshawn Lynch.
Kind of shocked. Tim, you were down on Jamal. Me and Josh were pretty high on him. I was absolutely shocked to see Josh had Jamal Williams at 20. I had him at 22, and I thought I was being a little contrarian out there, kind of being a little reckless. And then I see Josh, I'm like, what the hell? But I'm glad Josh did that because I think people are sleeping on Jamal Williams. I like Jamal Williams. I'm a big fan of him. The last 9 games of the year, he was putting up RB1 numbers 6 out of those 9 games. And that's without Mr. Aaron Rodgers. If he can, the first couple weeks, if he can go out and grab the reins of this offense and show that he can keep A-Rod healthy, show that he can be a receiving threat as well out of the backfield like he was last year, and continue to average 3.9 to 4.1 yards per carry, just be good enough, I think he can be special this year and be a top tier RB2.
just to continue on, I'm the official Packers beat writer for Pony Keg Sports. So Jamal Williams, he got the first start in the preseason game. If he gets the start in the second preseason game, that tells you a lot about what Mike McCarthy is going to do with him in the future. They do run a running back by committee. They are absolutely going to keep 4 running backs. So you'll have the first team offense will go out on game day. The next series will be the second running back for that entire series. That's the way Mike McCarthy does it. It's going to bug you if you watch the game and you have Jamal Williams. But then Jamal Williams will take the reign for the rest of the game. He is the best pass blocker on that team as far as the running back core goes. Being drafted in the 7th round, I think, is way undervalued. He should be somewhere at end of the 5th, early 6th. At 7'10", as ADP right now is absolutely undervalued. And I think that is going to, this is kind of early. We still have 3 more preseason games to go. Mm-hmm. I think as people see him getting the first team reps, as people see him actually getting the reins and the pass catching and the pass blocking ability, and that he is a 3-down back, his ADP will drop further.
Mike, who is the running back that one AA Aaron Rodgers is familiar with?
The most?
Most pass catching back, yes.
Ty Montgomery.
Absolutely. Ty Montgomery
Can't
is
stay healthy, though. He's not going to be getting goal line work. He's not going to be...
But who do they have for goal line?
Jamal Williams.
No, they have Aaron as well.
Aaron Jones.
They have Aaron Jones there. Aaron Jones is a goal line back. That's what it. My problem. I'm not saying that Jamal Williams can't be the guy. My problem is Mike just said it best. They are a running back by committee. Mike McCarthy plays the hot hand all the time. You said undervalued. I'm not trusting in the 5th round taking a Jamal Williams when I don't know who exactly Mike McCarthy's who's going to roll with. Mike McCarthy, smart in a smart way. That's why the Packers are a good football team. Plays the hot hand. They have 3 running backs that are all good at their individual things. One week, it may be Jamal Williams. One week, it may be Aaron. One week, it may be Ty Montgomery. I do not trust any of those running backs. We talked about it 3-4 weeks ago, Tom, and who's going to be the number 1 in that depth chart. It doesn't matter who's number 1 because Mike McCarthy is going to play all of them. And whoever Aaron Rodgers falls in love with that day, same reason why it could have been Randy Cobb, same reason why it could have been Devontae Adams, same way Geronimo Allison, Equanimeous St. Brown.
Jake Kumaro.
It can be any of those people. Aaron Rodgers and Mike McCarthy both run the hot hand. I do not trust any of them whatsoever. I want to talk about Marshawn Lynch. What the hell is Marshawn Lynch now?
A cheater.
He's not.
He had everyone that watches that breakout run that he had. Yeah, there was offensive holding on that play, so he got called
He
back.
didn't cheat.
He cheated.
No, he didn't. His players did. His teammates.
They cheated for him.
He
He's a cheater.
He looked fresh out there. He looked like old school Marshawn Lynch. And if you watch the end of the season for the Raiders, you would say that looked like old school Marshawn Lynch as well. Look at the last 6 games of the year. He had a 20-point game, 20.1, 13-4, 12-2, 9-2, 13-9. That's a pretty good stretch at the end of the year. John Gruden's going to run this MFer into the ground. I'm a little worried about that offensive line there in Oakland, but I think Marshawn Lynch, he's going to run a motherfucker's face over. That's what he's going to do.
Boom.
You know,
And I think he's the bell cow there. I think he's a good quality RB2 that you can get at a discounted price right now.
everyone remembers Ghostbusters, right? We all remember Ghostbusters. At the end of the film, they're great. It's great. The Ghostbusters are going around. Everyone, New York City loves them. Everyone's happy. By Ghostbusters 2, they're doing kids' birthday parties. That is Marshawn Lynch. He is going to end up doing kids' birthday parties by the mid-season. His back can't handle it. He had one great run. Don't oversell him. This guy, I mean, for the 6th round, 6'8" overall, that's pretty good value. Can't complain with it. Won't be on my team. I would. Well, let me rephrase this. I would put him on my team and try to trade him very early.
We will see how that happens. Actually, I don't know if you heard, Roquan Smith had his press conference, and very similar to when Marshawn Lynch asked about the contract holdout, what happened. He said, "Oh yeah, Mr. Pace and my agents took care of that," and that's all he said over and over.
Super
and over.
smart.
Yeah,
Super smart.
We're going to talk about that more here in a future episode here coming up. Let's get to the final 6. We ranked our top 32. Number 27, rookie Rashad Penny. 28, rookie Ronald Jones. 29, Dion Lewis. Number 30, rookie Kerryon Johnson. Number 31, Marlon Mack. And number 32, Chris Thompson.
Interesting group right here, Rashad Penny. I want to like him so much. I want the Seahawks to follow the traditional path where teams draft a running back in the 1st round and they use him. They give him 250 plus touches, but I'm worried about that right now. I'm still kind of high on him. Still have him at the 20 spot. I still think he could finish as a low-end RB2 in fantasy football, but right now, Chris Carson, he's looking all right, but he's just a guy. Like, people that are saying he's special, no, he's not. He's a 7th-round draft pick. Yeah, he might be hungry. He might be playing well, but I don't have faith that he's going to stay healthy, just like he got banged up last year. Had a couple decent runs, I guess, against the Colts defense last week, but that offense was mainly held in check against a pretty average Colts, if you could say average Colts.
4-string, yeah.
It's just hard for Rashad Penny right now. I want to love him, but it's just hard.
One guy I love on the list, 29, Dion Lewis. I think he's a great flex play. Right now his ADP is 5'9".
You like that ADP though?
Might be a little early for my taste. If you go two running backs first, follow it up with 2 wide receivers, and you're coming here and you're looking at Dion Lewis at 5'9", that wouldn't be too bad for me. The guy, when you look at his counterpart, Henry.
Derrick Henry, 309.
That's a little early for me. I don't really believe in Derrick Henry right now. But Lewis, he's going to be that third down guy for whatever weird reason he is the third down guy, and he's going to get those checkdowns and those early, not exactly red goal line. Sorry, not goal line, but he'll be that 15-yard to the 8-yard line. That he's going to get those flat passes and just take it in and score points. Look for him 8 points a game. Flex, not too horrible, not too great, but for a flex player, not great. Bad, not bad.
I am high on Derrick Henry, so to contradict your Deion Lewis stats,
I am low on Rashad Penny. I just don't think the Seahawks are smart enough, and I don't think that Pete Carroll knows what he's doing. I think they wasted a first-round draft pick in taking Penny there. He's a second or third-round draft pick at best. He should have gone to another team. Terrible place for him to end up.
I laughed when they took him.
We all did. We did it together. My two guys that I want to talk about, Ronald Jones and Kerryon Johnson. Ronald Jones I've been high on. I've talked about him at length over and over and over. Peyton Barber's been named the starter so far. Ronald Jones is not impressed so far in camp. I still think
pass block.
He's the guy. I do. His camp has gone similar to one Alvin Kamara. Not a lot of love, had some issues, but at the end of the day, I do think Ronald Jones is the guy. And then Kerryon Johnson. I know Josh has also gotten high on him as of late. I just think that Kerryon Johnson's the guy to finally open everything up for Matthew Stafford. Matt Patricia's there. He likes to slow the game down. He likes to focus on his defense. The defense has gotten better. It seems like the Bears were a top 10 defense. The Packers have drastically improved their secondary with their draft picks. Everyone knows about the Minnesota Vikings and how good that defense is. The NFC North is quickly becoming a defensive division once again. Kerryon Johnson is the X factor of, are the Detroit Lions going to be competing for the division/wild card, or are they going to be competing with the Chicago Bears as the basement dwellers of the NFC North?
Johnson had a great preseason week 1.
Yep.
Against the 5th team defense. So I just said it as a joke.
You gotta get what you get, Mike.
I was just making you mad, Tim. No, he really did. I loved what I saw. There's a lot of potential there, and for putting him down at number 30, he's going 6'2 overall. That is a great spot if you think he could be a sleeper. We will see what happens with the rest of the 3 games for the preseason, but he is absolutely that. If you have a yellow Sharpie, you highlight that name and you keep an eye on that player because he could be something for real for Detroit.
The Lions are looking to move on from the Amir Abdullahs, from the who's the other kid I'm forgetting, the Theo Riddicks. Those names of the world, the pass catching, but they can't really run. Kerryon Johnson. Now, his big bugaboo, in my opinion, is he had injury issues at Auburn. That's the thing. Can he
still played though?
Well, sometimes. Not all the time.
He didn't miss any games this year.
The year before he did.
Yeah.
Can he stay healthy? That's my big question.
And with Kerryon and rookies and even running backs just in general, you have to evaluate their offensive line. Out of any rookie in this draft class, he will be running behind the best offensive line on paper as we sit here today. As long as they could stay healthy, just invested a top pick into a center guard. They got a good offensive coordinator there. I do like Kerryon. Kind of started a little bit slow on him. He looked good in preseason, hearing good things from the beat writers in Detroit, so he's growing on me a little bit. I want to talk about Marlon Mack. I wish he did not hurt his hamstring already. It's not good. He's probably not going to play the rest of the preseason. But if you watch the Colts Seahawks game, the first play of the game, a little swing pass to him, gained like 14 yards.
Yep.
That offense is going to be all about that. And you got to look at what Frank Gore was able to do with Andrew Luck. He was putting up top 18 running back numbers. Whoever is the lead dog for the Indianapolis Colts,
yep,
they have potential to be a top tier RB2 and put up consistent numbers. That offense is going to be good. That defense won't be great, so they'll probably be in shootouts. Hopefully Marlon Mack can stay healthy and come back to form. If he does, he's a steal at 705.
Tom and I were both very high on Marlon Mack coming out of college, and a guy that we weren't as high on, but we both agree can play a big role in this Colts offense is Nyheim Hines. Make sure you watch him, especially if Mac has a nagging injury and he's questionable for week 1. Someone that for a very late round, if you're the type of team that takes your defense and kicker in the 15th, 16th, and you still have a last pick, and Nyheim Hines could potentially be there. Potentially.
Jordan Wilkins as well. He's getting first team reps with Mac being out. It's more that bigger guys, close to 220 pounds.
I want to ask you guys here, we just have a couple minutes left before we let everyone go. I want to ask you, out of all these guys that we've looked at, these 32 guys, who's the one that, depending on your draft position, or who's the guy that you're falling in love with here, whether it be preseason, whether it be college tape, who's the guy that you're falling in love with?
Pretty much.
It's easy to say the top guys, but let's say a mid-tier guy, somewhere in the 15 to 25 round.
Well, my mid-tier, or for my top tier, it's if I'm picking anywhere outside the top 4, I've done a ton of best ball leagues and a couple expert mocks or expert leagues. I pretty much have Saquon and Dalvin Cook almost in 95% of my leagues that I'm not picking early. Mid-round, big time fan of Royce Freeman. If I'm getting Jordan Howard anywhere near the 3rd round, like that, and brought up Sony Michel earlier.
Michael?
I'm all on him.
As our list goes, he's number 12, but ADP he's 12-11, and that's Joe Mixon.
211.
211, sorry. Absolutely love the guy. Can't believe he's being drafted that late. I think, again, this will be a guy that his ADP will absolutely drop as the preseason goes along and people actually see some of his plays, like the one where he got hit in the leg, almost went down.
Yeah, he embarrassed the Bears. Thanks, Mike. Thanks for bringing it up.
Yes, he did.
Well, that's all we have. Actually, if I'm going to add mine, I agree with Tom. I do believe Royce Freeman is a guy to pay attention to, and 2 other rookies, and one Kerryon Johnson and Ronald Jones. I'm not giving up on Ronald Jones. It's someone I'm sticking with. I've been with him since before the Bucks drafted him. Josh called me crazy. Very similar to Alvin Kamara in terms of how my thoughts were on him and Josh's thoughts. Very similar going into the season. So I'm very, very interested to see. We will have to wait. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, there's a lot of leagues who are starting to draft this weekend. There's some leagues who are next weekend or even the weekend after that. These next 3 weeks, it's draft weekend, boys. Yep. We are coming up to the prime of the fantasy football world, and if you want to win your league, make sure to listen to us, Pony Keg Sports. If you have questions, if you say, what's this guy, what's that, what do you think about that, make sure to email us, ponykegsports@gmail.com. You can follow us on Facebook at Ponykeg Sports. Follow Josh on Twitter at Ponykeg Sports. Follow Tom at Pony_Keg_Tom. You can follow me at Fight Talk Tim and Mike at
Michael R. Agent.
Michael R. Agent for all the crazy stuff that he has there. And as always, make sure to follow our sponsor, Rogue Energy. I'm telling you guys, if you haven't had it, there's a lot of people out there who say that, it's delicious, it gives you energy. It doesn't give you that, coked out feel. It makes you calm but alert. You don't need your coffee. You don't need a Red Bull. You don't need friggin' Adderall. You don't need any of that crap. Rogue Energy is what you need, whether it be for a workout, whether it be for staying up a little bit later. You want to focus on your fantasy football. That's who you want. Mike, real quick.
Josh just sent me a text. He said the strawberries lube tastes like strawberries. The schnozberry lube tastes like schnozberries.
That sounds like something Josh would say. Again, everyone, make sure to stick with us. We're going to have an NFL episode here real quick. We're going to knock out just some of the breaking news and just talk football. So make sure to stick with Pony Keg Sports. And until next time, peace!